Call it spring, like everything is new. The sunburst flowers calling on warm days overdue. But I call like everything.
Because this is a book related video, I figured that I would do a presentation of what my life has been like in the past couple of months. Before I get to the main book of this whole video, I just want to show you what I got in Barnes & Noble. The first book that I got, get ready y'all, I know y'all haven't heard of this shit, is Daisy Jones and the Six.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
It talks about like this famous girl named Daisy Jones and this other popular group at the time, and how that popular group was on a rise of fame, and Daisy Jones just had like something about her really caught people's eyes. So she was also on the rise with her music, and at some point their music collided. Like I think they collaborated, or Daisy Jones sang a song, and so people just really liked their sound together and they became a group. And this book basically follows what happened leading up to that collaboration, during it, and the fallout that they had. It's like in a style of an interview, and I know this sounds pretty boring, but I promise you this is such an interesting and good book. So the next book that I got, it's The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. By the way, I don't think I said it for the previous book, but this is also by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I know these two books were extremely popular here, and I don't know, I feel like, I mean, she's on a roll to have 2 books being hyped up on book 2, but I also feel like they were released around the same time. Am I wrong?
2 very boring minutes later.
So The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was released in 2018. No way, was I really? Nah. What? I don't know, this is not important. I don't even know why I'm getting so into this. This leads me up to the actual book of this video, and that is, I don't know. I was walking in Barnes & Noble, and you know, I just wish I would have taken a picture or video of what this table looked like, but because it was in front of the doors, I was a little shy. I found like just this whole table of books that looked just like this, except that here it had like the different genres and just a very short summary. I was between fiction and fantasy, just because I feel like maybe because I'm 22 now, I'm just not so pulled into YA anymore, especially romance. I never enjoyed YA romance. Like I can't think of a book that was YA romance that really stuck with me. Like some of them were cute. I remember I thought Fangirl was cute. I read that years ago though. I wonder if my perception of it would still be the same, but I don't know. I'm just talking about shit that's not even important in this video. Point is, I got manga because I haven't found the manga for me. I just think there were too like middle grade. It wasn't catered to my life, to what I know, my experiences and stuff. So there's just like that disconnect. But I don't know if that's a disconnect as well, because when there's pictures, you can't really like see the thoughts of the characters. I don't know. We're gonna find out though. So I figured, you know what? I might as well just open this in this video and see what it's like. So let's do this. I can't, like, you know, they write this pretty good though. I feel kind of bad, but I like the wallpaper. I like, what hell, what the hell? I didn't even read what this said. It said 2 strangers meet on a train. Will they fall in love, or will language barriers and the fear of getting hurt keep them apart? Okay, so it's kind of cute though. Like it is kind of cute. It seems like it's a series. Sue Morishita. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. So it says in the back, Yuki is a college student who's into friends and fashion. She's also deaf. A chance meeting on a train leads to a serious crush, but can it grow into something more? Yuki, who's always been deaf, is used to communicating with sign language and her phone, but she's not used to English, so when a tourist from overseas asks for directions, she nearly panics until a handsome stranger steps in to help. His name is Itsuomi. I need to ask Siri, how do you say this, because I'm embarrassing myself right now.
Few moments later.
Take hello me.
Ichlomi.
It's wrong. Bruh, I don't know if it's me.
Yes.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Yuki, who's always been deaf, is used to communicating with sign language and her phone, but she's not used to English. So when a tourist from overseas asks for directions, she nearly panics until a handsome young stranger steps in to help. His name is
Ichlomi.
and it turns out he's a friend of a friend, a charismatic globetrotter.
Ichlomi
speaks 3 languages, but he's never had a deaf friend. The two feel drawn to each other and plan a date on a romantic winter's night. But Yuki's friend is afraid that she might be setting herself up to get hurt. Could this be something real? Or will these feelings melt away with the snow? Let's do this. I'm excited to, get started. This is my first video in a while. So I'm gonna read some on camera and, update you. Okay, bye. How do you know what way to read it? Y'all, the expectations are low. Hey, it's been a long time since I last updated you. It's been like a quarter of a year. I actually did do an update the day after I finished reading the book, but something about the camera just came out very foggy and I felt like my thoughts are very scattered. So I just threw that to the trash, and it's been 3 months later, and up until this point I'm able to finally record this clip. So, let's just start with the positives. I like the illustrations. I like the fact that they incorporate sign language in there and they teach you about it in some pages. I like the main character's hair, even though you can't tell in the black and white pictures. And I like how crisp the pages feel when you turn them. Right, on to the negative. Chapter 1, the synopsis. It frustrates me so much how in the synopsis they mention Yuki, the main character, is so into fashion, but literally never ever in this book do they ever talk about her liking fashion. Not in her major, not in a conversation. The only moment they do mention this is on the first page when she's just thinking to herself before the tourist asks for directions. But it was literally like a square in the page. It lasted less than a second because that's how much it took me to read it. And then after that, it was just her meeting Ichwami and then her whole personality being 90% Ichwami and 10% of her being deaf. And it's kind of like, if you're gonna talk about love at first sight in a book, which by the way, it's only cute when the two people feel the same. If it's just one person feeling that love at first sight feeling, then it's not cute. It could quickly go down the path of a thriller or a horror story. Imagine it was just a guy who was deaf and who was conventionally ugly in the perspective of society standards. This would definitely be a horror story. And I don't mean to be too harsh, it's just kind of like those things where it's like, why does a girl's personality have to be all about a guy? You get me? If you want it to be about that, then commit to it, and don't add details that make her seem like she's more fleshed out than what she really is as a character. Which, in that thought, it leads me on to my next frustration, chapter 2, character mystery.
I've seen enough. Let's go back.
This is something that I've experienced with all the graphic novels that I've read, but in this particular manga, it's just like 100 times worse. And it's the fact that I always have trouble connecting with the characters. I guess I'm a very character-driven reader. Although the plot is important, I don't feel anything for the characters, and the plot could be so good, but I just won't care enough to read it. And so with this book, like, we don't have a plot, and the characters are so superficial. Like, there's nothing about them that is thought-provoking. except for maybe the main character. But it's like, even then, the author did not take the opportunity to really explore that. You know, you have a main character who's deaf. Like, that's something I've never read before. Like, when I read the synopsis, that was the first thing that jumped out to me, and I was like, oh, this could be really interesting. I've never heard of this. But it's like, he didn't even take advantage of that. And it's like, for what? Like, why are you gonna have such an interesting character and have the potential to explore so many things? Like, talk about how her life could have been like growing up, especially in a society that's so ableist. Like, that's something you could definitely discuss and bring awareness to, but you don't. And it's like, the love interest, tell me 5 things about him. Tell me 5 things that everyone else doesn't know in this book. We all know he loves to travel. We all know he studied abroad. We all know he speaks 3 languages. Tell me something else. And it's kind of like, if you're already gonna commit to a romantic story, then you know what? Just like materialize whatever you wrote about Yuki and her visions with him, like the way that she romanticizes him, because like the way that the actual plot is compared to her daydreams, it's the Walmart version of it. Might as well just commit fully. At least then there's something that I can laugh about, just because it's so extra in the way that you wrote it. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Kind of like Twilight, you get me? Like, it's so ridiculous that it's so entertaining and fun to watch. This one is just boring and ridiculous. 3rd chapter, her friends. Especially her girlfriend, because I really don't understand how, as a friend, you would enable your other friend to really get infatuated with the guy who she's barely shared like 5 conversation lines with. You get me? Like, from the very beginning, she started telling her, is this love or is this just a crush? Like, how is this love? She just met him. I don't even think they said anything to each other in the bus. And I do know why her friend is hyping her up, and it's because her crush is a boss of a shmomi. So now she's using her to have an excuse to go to the workplace that they work in and speak to the boss. That's just like annoying. And then there's another friend that she has called Oshikun, and at least that friend, like, if there is any love interest that she should have in this book, it should be him. For instance, he learned how to do sign language and read sign language just for her, so he could communicate with her. He's shown concern for her and her safety at the end of the book, and he's the one that had the best sense of humor. I mean, like, he's also the only person with a sense of humor in this book. But like, at some point when Yuki's looking at Shomi across the cafeteria, he goes up to her and surprises her and says, oh, eavesdropping, I see. Now, although I didn't feel much throughout this book, besides the feeling of losing brain cells, there was one part. This is the only part I doggy tagged this book in, just because it got me so pissed. I mean, it's both characters, but I'm gonna start with Ishomi because he's the one that really pissed me off. Something about him already annoys me, but it's the fact that he asked Yuki to teach him how to do sign language. So Yuki went home, spent all night, basically pulled an all-nighter for him, drawing illustrations on a book about different words you could sign. And then the following day, she takes it to his workplace. She hands it to him, and he kind of just like goes like this, like he kind of just flips through it. He starts talking shit about it. He like throws it back to her, and he says, I'm not gonna read this. Like, you snobby, disrespectful asshole. Teach me how to say bitch in one of your 3 different languages, because that's definitely what I would have been calling you if I was Yuki. Like, what kind of shit? Like, that's so disrespectful. Like, that's so ungrateful. It's like, this girl literally spent time of her day, time she will never get back, for you, just for you to throw it at her face again and basically tell her that it was pointless. No. Right there. Like, Yuki, like, what do you, like, red flag. Honestly, red flag number fucking 500. I just can't. And even like when I'm talking about it right now, it just gets me so pissed. You know what? Like, Yuki ain't no better. Because when her friend Oshikun, the dark-haired friend that learned sign language just for her, when he showed concern for her when she was walking in the dark towards a laundromat where Shomi was at after days of them not speaking, because he found out that she had a crush on him after something so minimal, like her looking at you from across the cafeteria and writing this whole book of illustrations, she should have given it away. But no, just her doing something so minimal give it away to him that she has a crush on him. Anyways, he stopped talking to her for days, and she reached out to him, and then he told her to meet her at laundromat. Like, if I have the possibility of getting murdered, the laundromat is the last place I want to be. You feel me? But yeah, anyways, I'm trying to say that she was so ready to throw away that friendship with Oshikun just for Ishiromi, because he showed concern. You barely know this guy. If anything, he has treated you horribly. At some point, he hit you in the face. Like, I would be thankful. I would be grateful to have friends like him. I mean, I do have friends like him, and I'm very grateful for them. Like, why would you ever be so ready to throw that to the trash so quickly? You get me? It's just disappointing, honestly. Next chapter, meaning of the title. This is where the spoiler is at. But honestly, I don't even recommend reading this book. While they're in the laundromat, Ishiromi is asking her, how do you say cute? And she tells him there's 3 ways to say it. And she explains 2 ways, and then at the end he's like, okay, what's the 3rd way? And she's like, well, it's when you rub someone's head. And this is like a big thing because since the beginning of the book and their first interaction, Ishiromi has always rubbed her head. So it's kind of like, oh, since the first day I met you, you've been calling me cute. So it's kind of affection. And yeah, that's it. That's like the whole meaning of the title. That's the whole book. At the end, it's just not even them getting together. It's just them thinking of possibly trying to see each other more as friends. I'm not gonna read any of the other books from this series, so feel free to spoil me in the comments if you feel like it. If you even read it, which if you have, God bless your soul. If you liked it, I'm sorry. It's just, it wasn't my cup of tea. Maybe it was yours. And at least, you know, this book pleased someone. I mean, it pleased a lot of people based on the ratings of Goodreads, but not me. So yeah, my Goodreads link will be linked below if you want to read my review. It's basically everything that I said here, but much shorter. I probably should have told you that from the very beginning, but so yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Hopefully it's soon. I really hope to start getting back to YouTube finally, now that I am settled somewhere that I know I'm not going to be leaving anytime soon. So yeah, please take care. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in watching any other videos of mine, please subscribe, go to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and comment below if you read this book before or one of the worst books you've read but had really good ratings on Goodreads, because I think we've all been there. Alrighty, thank you so much. Bye!